You drafted Bronny to appease LeBron. One thing that never gets talked about, and I don't understand why, you hired LeBron James's podcast co-host as the head coach of your organization, a person who has never had any coaching experience ever, to appease him as well. And he's not a good coach. But for whatever reason, JJ Redick ducks all smoke. Why does JJ Redick not get smoked for not being a good coach?
How do we know that he's not a good coach?
Because they don't win. That's why.
Charlamagne Tha God just struck a nerve and didn't even try to soften the blow. He stepped into the middle of the Los Angeles Lakers conversation and said what a lot of people whisper but never say out loud. This wasn't some light debate segment chatter. It was sharp, direct, and personal. The message: LeBron James didn't just struggle at times in LA, he may have reshaped the franchise in a way that hurt it long term. That's a heavy claim, because we're not talking about a role player. We're talking about LeBron James, one of the most powerful athletes in sports history. When he signed with the Lakers, it felt like destiny. Hollywood lights, purple and gold, legacy move. And at first, it looked like it worked. He brought instant relevance, global headlines, packed arenas, and eventually a championship in 2020. That banner went up. No one can erase that.
What outlet?
Oh, Jeannie Buss.
It was with the ESPN?
I saw a headline, but she said that that LeBron wasn't grateful enough that they drafted Bronny. Was that the...
Listen, I don't know if LeBron, yeah, he did say something like that, but I've had this theory for a while. I've said it in numerous group chats with different sports people. The worst thing that has happened to the Lakers over the last 7-8 years has been LeBron James.
But here's where the tone shifts. Charlemagne's argument is not about whether LeBron is talented. That part is obvious. The debate is about influence, about power, about control. He framed the LeBron era in Los Angeles as more than just a basketball decision. He painted it as a structural shift. The Lakers, a franchise known for strong front office leadership and long-term vision, allegedly started operating differently. Instead of the organization steering the ship, the superstar became the gravitational center of every move. And that changes things. The criticism says that once LeBron arrived, decisions began revolving around keeping him satisfied. Coaching changes, short-term roster flips, veteran-heavy lineups built for immediate results instead of sustainable growth. The identity of the franchise slowly blurred. Instead of building like a historic powerhouse, the team looked reactive, urgent, always chasing the next adjustment. Now let's be fair, the 2020 championship happened. It counts. It is official. But critics argue it became a protective shield. Whenever instability showed up, whenever playoff exits came earlier than expected, whenever roster chemistry collapsed, the response often circled back to that bubble title. Supporters say a ring is a ring. Detractors say the circumstances were unique, isolated, not the full grind of a normal 82-game season with travel, hostile crowds, and traditional pressure. That debate isn't going away. And then comes the most sensitive point of all: roster decisions tied to LeBron's personal orbit. The drafting of Bronny James sparked intense reactions. Some saw history being made, a father and son potentially sharing an NBA floor. Emotional, iconic, once in a generation. Others saw it differently. They questioned whether basketball merit or legacy optics played the bigger role. That's where this conversation gets uncomfortable. Because the Lakers are not just any franchise. They are built on dominance, banners, and long-term standards. When expectations are that high, anything less than sustained excellence feels like underachievement. And when influence appears concentrated in one player's hands, fair or not, scrutiny follows. So here's the real question: did LeBron elevate the Lakers and keep them relevant during a difficult transition era? Or did the franchise bend too far around one superstar's timeline and priorities? You can't dodge it. Pick a side. Is this era a calculated success with a championship to show for it? Or is it a case study in how superstar power can quietly reshape an organization in ways that don't always age well? Let's hear it. Charlemagne leaned even harder into the Bronny angle, and this is where the temperature really started rising. He argued that if Bronny had any other last name, if he wasn't attached to LeBron James, the entire conversation about his NBA readiness would look completely different. Not slightly different, completely different.
Well, it depends what you mean by worse.
Definitely in the last couple of years. Yes, you know, he bought them a championship, right, in the bubble. Great. I don't think the Lakers have ever had a problem putting butts in the stand, right? Los Angeles Lakers. They've never had a problem selling merch. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. But in the last couple of years, let's think about the things that have happened. LeBron James got Bronny James drafted, right? Which is great. That's a great story as a father and everything else. But when you're talking about basketball business, it wasn't good for the business of basketball, especially for the Lakers organization.
Why, how can we confirm that if we're talking about basketball business?
He hasn't produced. Basketball, you got to,
well,
if I do a draft pick, right, that person has to produce on the court. If Bronny James was any other player and not LeBron James' son, you would be saying that was a bust button.
That statement alone flips the debate from pure basketball analysis into something much deeper. Because now it's no longer just about jump shots, defensive rotations, or college stats. It becomes a conversation about influence, about power, about access. Charlemagne wasn't simply questioning Bronny's talent. He was questioning the environment around him. He was asking whether opportunity came from performance or proximity. That is a bold line to cross. From his perspective, the Lakers were willing to bend in ways they historically never would have. This is a franchise that once dictated terms to superstars. Legends adapted to the Lakers' culture. The culture did not adapt to them. But during the LeBron era, critics argue the power dynamic shifted. Instead of the organization leading from the front, it appeared reactive, adjusting, accommodating, aligning decisions with one player's orbit. And when a franchise starts reacting instead of directing, Charlemagne suggests something slowly erodes: identity. The Lakers brand has always been built on control, confidence, and long-term authority. When that foundation feels flexible, even slightly, fans notice. Analysts notice. Former players definitely notice. The implication isn't that LeBron demanded chaos. The implication is that his presence carried so much weight that the natural balance inside the building tilted. That perception alone creates tension. Another major flashpoint revolves around leadership hires and front office dynamics. Charlemagne and others have pointed to the growing belief that relationships and media comfort may have played a role in certain decisions. The suggestion is not always explicit, but it lingers. When leadership changes happen and the new faces appear closely aligned with LeBron's circle, people connect dots quickly. Fair or unfair, the narrative grows. It's not just about whether someone is qualified, it becomes about why they were chosen. Was it vision? Was it loyalty? Was it trust? Or was it influence? In high-profile organizations, perception can carry as much weight as reality. Once fans believe decisions are being shaped by personal connections rather than independent evaluation, skepticism spreads fast. And skepticism sticks. The argument critics are making isn't simply that mistakes happened. Every franchise makes mistakes. It's that the reasoning behind certain moves may have prioritized short-term alignment over long-term structure. Instead of building patiently, the team often looked like it was recalibrating annually, swapping pieces, changing direction, restarting chemistry. That constant motion created instability, and instability is expensive in the NBA. The criticism does not stop at management offices either. Coaching decisions have become part of the spotlight. Whenever expectations are sky high and results fall short, the bench absorbs pressure immediately. When a roster includes multiple all-star caliber players and the team still struggles to dominate consistently, fingers start pointing in every direction. Is it strategy? Is it roster fit? Is it effort? Is it leadership? When things go wrong, blame rarely lands in one place. It spreads. For critics aligned with Charlemagne's stance, the pattern feels familiar. Big off-season headlines, confident predictions, playoff ambitions, then inconsistency, then adjustments, then another reset. They argue that a franchise built on sustained dominance began operating in cycles of urgency, and urgency can blur judgment. Supporters of LeBron push back hard against that narrative. They argue he delivered a championship. He kept the Lakers nationally relevant during a transitional era. He filled seats. He brought commercial strength. They say the league is more competitive now, the margin for error is thinner, and no single player can control every outcome. Both sides believe they are protecting the truth. But what makes Charlemagne's comments so explosive is that he framed the issue as structural, not seasonal. He didn't focus on one playoff loss. He didn't isolate one roster decision. He questioned the foundation of how decisions were being made during this era, and once that question is out there, it doesn't disappear. Because this debate isn't just about LeBron's legacy. It's about what happens when superstar influence becomes intertwined with organizational direction. It's about whether a franchise can maintain its core identity while orbiting around a generational figure. And that tension is exactly why the NBA world cannot stop watching. Charlemagne's stance is simple and sharp. Winning is the standard, not the bonus, not the exception. In Los Angeles, banners are the currency. If the wins are not stacking up, then explanations about chemistry, injuries, or long-term development do not carry much sympathy. Not in that city, not with that history.
So this is where we got to define the terms. When I hear you say business, I mean like financial reward. I'm hearing financial reward. There's also like the business of winning games.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, because those are different. Because the argument I would make for LeBron James is
Financial reward, probably yes.
like when you bring him to Cleveland, for example, like he was generating billions of dollars, literally, I'm not making that up, of revenue for the city of Cleveland. Now, you make a good point where the Lakers are going to sell out every single night no matter what. But they're...
With LeBron, you can sell those tickets a little bit more.
With LeBron, exactly. With LeBron, you're not only going to sell them a little bit more. LeBron brings other talent there, i.e., like a Luka.
They haven't won though.
I think the people who own the team, right? They're not buying the team just because they want to win championships. We agree with that, right? Like they also want to make money. That this is like a profitable endeavor, and having LeBron on the team and keeping LeBron happy is worth it because you could own, and I'm putting only in quotes, you can only pay LeBron $40 million a year, whatever the salary cap is, but he's generating your team a disproportionate amount of money compared to the amount that you're paying him.
That is the pressure of wearing a Lakers jersey. From his perspective, results are the only scoreboard that matters. If the team is not dominating consistently, then something is off. And in a market like Los Angeles, where expectations are championship level every single season, patience runs thin, fast. But here is where the conversation gets layered. Because while Charlemagne's criticism connects with a loud portion of fans, it leaves out another reality. LeBron has never just been a player, he has been a system. Everywhere he goes, the franchise adjusts. Cleveland reorganized around him, Miami recalibrated around him, Los Angeles followed the same blueprint. And historically, that formula worked. Titles followed, revenue climbed, global relevance exploded. This is not random. This is a proven pattern. LeBron's presence changes infrastructure. Offenses run through him. Roster construction centers around his strengths. Veterans join for discounted deals. Contention windows tighten and intensify. The short-term approach becomes aggressive. That has been the model for over a decade, and it delivered championships before he ever stepped into Crypto.com arena. Financially, his impact on the Lakers is undeniable. Ticket demand surged. Jersey sales spiked worldwide. International viewership numbers climbed. Sponsorship conversations expanded. Every Lakers game became appointment viewing, even in regular season matchups. The franchise did not just gain a superstar, it gained an economic engine. In modern sports, that matters. Branding, global market presence, media leverage, those are pillars now. Championships remain king, but financial dominance is part of the equation. By that standard, LeBron delivered immediate value. Even critics admit the spotlight never left Los Angeles during his era. Still, here is the tension. For Lakers fans, money does not replace banners. This franchise was built on sustained dominance. Magic, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem. The standard is not relevance. The standard is legacy through winning. And while LeBron delivered a championship in 2020, the seasons surrounding that title have felt uneven. Injuries disrupted momentum. Roster experiments failed to gel. Trades that looked bold on paper struggled in execution. Early playoff exits chipped away at confidence. Instead of building steady continuity, the team often looked like it was searching for balance year after year. That instability feeds the criticism. Charlemagne's harshest argument centers on long-term cost. He suggests that aligning everything to LeBron's timeline may have sacrificed future flexibility. Young talent was moved. Draft capital shifted. The roster reshaped repeatedly in pursuit of immediate contention. Instead of growing a sustainable core, critics argue the Lakers lived in a cycle of urgency, always adjusting, always pivoting, always chasing the now. From that lens, the franchise never fully stabilized. It kept recalibrating around one window, and when that window narrows, the consequences become visible. Supporters push back strongly against that view. They argue that when you sign a superstar in the later chapters of his career, you do not plan for 10 years down the road. You plan for right now. You maximize the window you have. You go all in. That is the agreement. That is the strategy. And in that context, the aggressive moves make sense. The championship validated it, at least in the short term. But the league evolves quickly. Younger stars rise. Leadership dynamics shift. The balance of influence naturally changes as new faces become central to the future. As the Lakers look ahead, the conversation is no longer only about LeBron's era. It is about transition, about what comes next. And that is where this debate becomes bigger than one player. Was the aggressive, superstar-centered strategy the correct call for that moment? Or did it compromise the stability that once defined the franchise? Did LeBron extend the Lakers' competitive relevance during a fragile phase? Or did the constant alignment to his timeline limit their long-term blueprint? Both realities can exist at once. And that is why this conversation refuses to fade. Long-term planning is back in the spotlight. And suddenly, LeBron's presence in Los Angeles is not just about box scores or highlight plays. It is about direction. It is about legacy. It is about how his era connects or clashes with what comes next for the franchise. That is where Charlemagne's comments hit hardest. His argument is not only about missed opportunities in the past, it is about the present tension. He suggests the Lakers are standing in between two identities. On one side, there is the LeBron era, the championship, the global spotlight, the commercial dominance. On the other side, there is the next chapter, younger talent, new leadership dynamics, a future that cannot orbit one player forever. And in that middle space, confusion creeps in. Who is steering the direction now? Who is shaping the long-term blueprint? How much influence should LeBron still hold as the franchise begins to pivot toward the future? Those are not small questions. They strike at the core of organizational clarity. When a team tries to honor the present while preparing for tomorrow at the same time, mixed signals can surface. That is the tension Charlemagne tapped into. The emotional weight of this conversation cannot be ignored. LeBron is not just another all-star. He is one of the most scrutinized athletes in modern sports history. Every achievement is magnified. Every shortcoming is analyzed frame by frame. After more than 20 years under relentless spotlight, reactions to his career feel sharper than ever. There is no neutral ground with him. Charlemagne did not invent the debate. He pulled it into the open. The questions were already circulating. Did the Lakers give up too much structural control? Did aligning so closely with LeBron's timeline affect their long-term stability? Was the championship worth the volatility that followed? None of those questions have clean, comfortable answers. That is why the conversation feels so charged.
And then, like, look what she said. And team sources told ESPN she even begun to turn against the Lakers star player LeBron James. Jeannie privately grumbled people close to the team say about what she felt was James' outsized ego and the overt control that he and Clutch Sports, which represents both James and Anthony,
They do have that.
exerted over the organization at times. She didn't like that James was considered a savior for a floundering franchise when he arrived in 2018, and that it was he who chose the Lakers rather than the team's leadership receiving praise for landing him. Team sources have been adamant for years that James' camp informed the Lakers as early as 2017 that he was coming to join them when he became a free agent the following year. The distance between Ginny and James widened after the Lakers traded for Russell Westbrook in July 2021. People close to the team said the team had made the trade in an effort to appease James, but the acquisition backfired in catastrophic fashion. LA went 33-49 and missed the playoffs, and James seemed to wash his hands of his role in the trade. But for whatever reason, JJ Redick ducks all smoke. Why does JJ Redick not get smoked for not being a good coach?
How do we know that he's not a good coach?
Because they don't win. They don't win. That's why.
Yeah, but I think winning is a combination. And I'm not just saying this because I like JJ, but like I think winning is a combination of being a good coach and having the right team to
He
win.
had LeBron. He had Anthony Davis. Now he's got LeBron. He's got Luka. He's got Austin Reeves. Like, what are we talking about here?
Timing makes this moment even more compelling. LeBron is approaching the final stretch of his career. The league is evolving rapidly. New stars are emerging. Rivalries are reshaping the landscape. The focus is slowly shifting from what is LeBron doing this season to what will his full legacy represent when the final chapter closes. And legacy conversations are never simple. They force reflection, not just on individual greatness, but on ripple effects, on how every franchise he touched was altered. Cleveland transformed around him twice. Miami experienced its own era of recalibration. Los Angeles embraced the superstar model once again. In each case, championships were part of the story. So were transitions. Now the Lakers stand at another turning point. As younger talent becomes central and leadership recalibrates, the balance of influence inevitably changes. The franchise must decide how to honor one of the greatest players ever while clearly defining its next identity. That balance is delicate. Lean too far in either direction, and the structure wobbles. Charlemagne's comments sharpened that spotlight. They forced people to confront a reality that was already forming. The LeBron era cannot last forever. The next chapter is coming whether fans are ready or not. The real question is whether the Lakers can transition smoothly or whether the weight of this era will linger longer than expected. That uncertainty is what keeps the debate alive. For the Lakers, this reflection is layered and complicated. The LeBron era delivered visibility on a global scale. Revenue climbed, headlines never stopped, a championship banner went up. That part is real. But alongside that success came constant pressure, yearly roster adjustments, and a noticeable shift in how the organization functioned internally. Whether that trade-off was worth it depends entirely on perspective. If you measure success strictly by sustained dominance, by multiple titles and stable continuity, you might feel something was left on the table. If you value relevance, global spotlight, and remaining at the center of the basketball universe during a transitional era, you might call it a win. Both views exist at the same time. That is what makes this era so polarizing. Charlemagne did not hesitate in choosing his side. He framed LeBron not as a franchise rescuer, but as a disruptor. Not as a long-term architect, but as a power figure who reshaped the organization around his own timeline and priorities. That framing cuts deep because it challenges the more celebrated version of events. It forces fans to zoom out and look at the entire stretch in Los Angeles as one connected chapter instead of isolated seasons. And that shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of seeing one title surrounded by unlucky breaks, critics see a larger pattern of volatility. Instead of seeing aggressive ambition, they see instability. Instead of seeing empowerment, they see structural compromise. That is why the debate feels heavier than a typical sports argument. It is not about one game. It is about identity. At the same time, the story is not finished. As long as LeBron is still on the court, still producing at a high level, still commanding attention from every corner of the league, this discussion stays alive. Every win strengthens his supporters. Every loss energizes his critics. Every roster move, every coaching adjustment, every front office decision becomes part of a broader narrative that is still unfolding in real time. This is not just a loud media moment. It feels like a turning point in how this era will ultimately be remembered. Legacies are not defined by a single championship or one disappointing season. They are built over years of choices, risks, results, and consequences. The Lakers are still navigating the closing stretch of the LeBron chapter, and how it ends will heavily shape how it is judged. So now it is your turn. Was the visibility, revenue, and championship worth the instability and constant recalibration? Did LeBron elevate the franchise during a vulnerable stretch, or did his influence blur its long-term direction? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear where you stand on this era. And if you want more deep breakdowns, honest debates, and unfiltered NBA analysis, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are just getting started.